I just want to show you how disgusting the old brake fluid was.
Yeah, baby. Day and night.
Yeah, that stopped on a dime. I did not expect that. In this video, I'm going to show you how to do a brake fluid flush. And this process is typically standard across most cars, even if you have ABS. For today's video, I'll be working on a 2011 Ford F-250. Ford recommends replacing the brake fluid every 2 years or 30,000 miles, whichever comes first, especially if you're towing. Now, if you got air into the system, whether you let the reservoir run dry or you had to replace the ABS components, you will most likely need a scan tool to electronically bleed the system. For this truck, we bought a 32-ounce brand new bottle of brake fluid. You don't want to use brake fluid that's been open for a while, since brake fluid absorbs moisture and is the reason why we're replacing it in the first place. Doing this will prevent reduced braking power, corrosion in your system, or even brake failure. Now, you do want to check the recommended brake fluid type. For this, we're going to do a mix of .3 and 4 because it'll give us a higher boiling point since my dad tows a lot. Let's get started. We're first going to throw some gloves on. Safety first, park on the level surface, put the handbrake on, and we're going to open the hood. Now we want to find the brake fluid reservoir, which looks like it's over there. So as you can see here, it talks about the type of brake fluid that we need. So .3, .4 is higher grade, so we can use our .3 and 4 synthetic blend. Before opening the cap, you want to make sure you clean it off so nothing goes inside. Now we're just going to twist and open the lid. Next, we want to extract the old brake fluid from the reservoir. What I have here is a syringe. I also have a brake fluid catch can. I'm going to need to drain this. We're going to keep doing this until we get as much fluid out as possible. And we're ready to start pouring the new fluid in. You want to make sure that throughout this entire process that you never let it run dry. Now that we have the new fluid in, we're ready to start bleeding the brake system. You want to start with the wheel that is furthest away from the reservoir or master cylinder. So this is on the driver's side, so we're going to go start with the back right tire. And we're going to work our way from furthest to closest wheel. Now we can move on with jacking up the right rear tire. We're first going to remove the cap. We're going to lift it up by using the axle. Then we're going to unscrew the lug nuts. Righty tighty, lefty loosey. For this vehicle, it's a 21mm socket, and we're going to use the impact gun. This is my addition for F1. All right, and for safety, I always like to put the tire underneath the car, just in case it ever comes down. All right, that was good. Now we're gonna look for the bleeding screw, and it's right here. There's a little dust cover. This is what the bleeding screw looks like. Yours might not have the dust cover on it. We're gonna need an open wrench. The 3/8 fits better than the 10mm. We're gonna take our bottle. It has a magnet on the side. You want to below the bleeding screw. The old brake fluid, once we unscrew, will come out of this little hole right here. So we want to put the little silicone hose on to start draining the fluid. I'm gonna move this so you can see this is seated all the way in. So it's got a nice little vacuum going. Now we're ready to start. Now there's two different methods to do this. There's a 2-person method and a 1-person method. 2-person method, I'm gonna have my dad hit the brakes, and then once he's ready, he's gonna tell me ready, and I'm gonna open the bleeder screw. When his foot hits all the way to the floor, he's gonna tell me, okay. I'm gonna make sure to close the bleeder screw because we don't want to let the air back inside the system. And then he's going to be able to repeat the process. Righty tighty, lefty loosey.
Okay.
He said okay, so we're gonna close the bleeder screw. Okay, closed.
Ready.
Open. Closed. Open. Closed. Open. So what you're looking for when you're bleeding this, and you know that this corner is done, is when the air bubbles stop coming out. There, you might not have any air bubbles, but if you do, then you want to make sure that you keep bleeding until the air bubbles are all out. And then you want to make sure that this darker fluid is out and the new fluid is starting to bleed through. So to me, this is why you want a clear hose. You see that it's the new fluid that's already coming out. So we're good on this corner. Now that we're done with this corner, we're just going to make sure it's nice and tight. We don't want to over tighten it, but we Also don't want it leaking. We're ready to remove this little hose. And now that we're done, remove our wrench. And then we're gonna put the dust cover back on. And we're gonna put the tire back on, tighten everything up, and then we're gonna move on to the next corner. Truck tires are heavy. Yeah, that's good. We're gonna hand thread on the lug nuts because we don't want to cross thread them. And then we're gonna tighten the lug nuts one at a time, but we're gonna do a cross pattern so that the wheel gets evenly tightened down. Here, 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 and then the final one here. So just kind of like a star pattern. It doesn't have to be that exact order, but the idea is just to evenly tighten it across. You might have noticed that I forgot to tighten one of them. And then we're gonna hand tighten it, make sure everything is torqued down to spec. So for this truck, it's 165 foot-pounds. I don't know if you'll be able to see. There's numbers here, and as you tighten it righty-tighty, it'll go up to the correct foot-pounds. We're gonna use an extension. That way we can clear the tire. And when we hear the click, that's when we know it's good. Okay, so all of them are torqued to spec. And last step, we're just gonna put the lid back on. Just like that, we're done with the wheel. We're ready to drop the car and move on to the next wheel. Same thing, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. We just did the back right. So the second furthest away is this driver's side back wheel. After that, we're gonna do the passenger front tire. And at the end, we're going to do the driver's side front tire. And it's also very important to make sure that the reservoir never runs dry throughout this entire bleeding process, because it'll just get air into the system and you'll just have to redo everything all over again. Hey, Dad. One helpful hint is for the front wheels, you can actually turn your wheel to the left or to the right, depending on which side you're working on. So this is what it looks like without taking the wheel off. So you see that's the bleeding screw right there. You do the same procedure, but with the convenience of not having to take the wheel off and lifting the car up. Now, as a second person, you can definitely get a leg workout in while you're doing this. Yeah, so here's the front left. Now, once we're done bleeding on all four wheels, we want to make sure that the reservoir is topped off. This is the max line right here, so we don't want it all the way to the top, but we want it, you know, below the max line. The minimum line's here. I usually like to top it off right underneath the max line. We actually need more brake fluid, but for now we're going to be good because that's the minimum line and we're right around here, kind of the middle. So we're gonna buy some more brake fluid and top it off. We're gonna close the lid. We're gonna close the hood. Now the final step is to make sure that we did the job correctly and that we have a nice firm brake pedal. If we do, then we're good. If we don't, you might have to re-bleed the brake system. If that doesn't work and you have ABS, then you'll probably need to either buy a handheld system that has the function to bleed the brake system electronically, or find somebody that does. And if that doesn't work, then you might have a bigger issue. I mean, that feels nice and firm to me. So now we're gonna go for an actual test drive. My dad's driving because this is his daily. So he would know the brake pedal better than I would. Feels good?
Yeah, baby. Day and night.
Yeah, that stopped on a dime. I did not expect that. Well, good.
Yes,
Yeah.
Absolutely different.
Definitely, it was time for us to do that job and probably could have done it a little bit sooner, but I would say that's a success. Thanks so much for watching. My dad's cleaning up already. It's getting dark. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, please check out my channel. Hit the subscribe, it's free. Hit the like button, it's also free. It really helps me out. If you want to watch more of my videos, check this video out up next, and I'll see you in the next one. This thing sounds insane.